Rams Nation, listen up because everything you thought you knew about that controversial first-round draft pick just changed. We all scratched our heads when the front office went in that direction, but a massive new piece of information reveals the genius behind the madness. This wasn't just about the future, it was the master key that unlocked the trades for an elite cornerback and the biggest defensive superstar in the league. How did one decision trigger such a championship-level aggressive approach? You need to hear this. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let's dive into this game-changing situation. The selection of Ty Simpson with the 13th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft was immediately met with intense scrutiny. Critics argued that the Los Angeles Rams ignored the urgent needs of Matthew Stafford by failing to add immediate impact talent in the first round. However, this narrative overlooks the strategic reality of the team's roster construction. The organization possesses one of the most complete lineups in the league, making the addition of a traditional impact rookie at pick 13 a difficult proposition. Offensive linemen would likely have been relegated to reserve roles, barring injuries to starters, while any wide receiver would have fallen behind Puka Nacua and Davante Adams on the depth chart, especially with the team's shift toward more 12 and 13 personnel groupings. Defensive prospects would have similarly struggled to find consistent snaps behind an already deep unit. When analyzing the selection of Ty Simpson, it becomes clear that it was designed to provide the team with the necessary flexibility to operate aggressively. By securing their future at the most important position on the field early, the front office cleared the path to pursue win-now assets. The decision was never about choosing between the future and the present. It was about optimizing the draft capital to serve both timelines simultaneously. As the team continues to push for success in 2026, the arrival of Ty Simpson stands as the cornerstone of a much larger plan. This move allowed the leadership to leverage their future draft assets, specifically their 2027, 2028, and 2029 selections, to acquire proven superstars. Fans looking for an explanation for the draft night surprise need look no further than the roster transformation that followed. It is time to cheer and ram it as the team builds its competitive edge. Why does this matter right now for the team? The decision to draft Ty Simpson serves as the essential catalyst for the team's aggressive 2026 roster overhaul. By drafting a quarterback early, the organization effectively removed the pressure of needing to use high-value future draft capital on an eventual successor for Matthew Stafford. This strategic shift is significant because it directly influenced the team's ability to secure elite talent that provides immediate contributions on the field. In the modern NFL, relying on rookies to transform a championship window can be inconsistent, but by securing a high-ceiling quarterback, the Rams unlock the freedom to trade future picks for established, veteran playmakers who are ready to produce at an elite level today. This development impacts the current season by elevating the overall ceiling of the roster. Instead of having a rookie competing for snaps at receiver or protecting the quarterback, the team now features a secondary strengthened by the arrival of cornerback Trent McDuffie. Furthermore, the defensive front has been transformed into a dominant force. The maneuverability afforded by the Ty Simpson pick allowed the front office to execute a massive trade for Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in the NFL. When looking at the roster composition, the team is now significantly better equipped for the challenges of the 2026 season than they would have been had they spent the 13th pick on a player who would only provide depth. The transition to a more flexible asset management strategy has yielded tangible results, turning a puzzling draft night decision into the foundational move that paved the way for the addition of two absolute game changers who are currently integrated into the starting lineup for the push toward a championship trophy. The orchestration of these roster moves dates back to the 2025 NFL Draft, demonstrating a long-term plan that has finally reached its full potential. The Rams generated additional capital by trading back with the Atlanta Falcons, a deal that enabled the selection of edge rusher James Pierce Jr. This specific exchange of draft assets created a ripple effect. That extra first-round pick eventually gave the team the breathing room to trade their own 29th overall selection to acquire Trent McDuffie. When Ty Simpson was finally selected at number 13, the plan was fully realized. According to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, the team engaged in internal discussions regarding how taking Ty Simpson would affect their pursuit of a player like Myles Garrett. The conclusion was counterintuitive but calculated. The selection actually justified the pursuit. By committing to Ty Simpson, the team was freed from the burden of needing high picks in 2027 and beyond to find a new quarterback. This allowed the organization to confidently offer their 2027, 2028, and 2029 draft picks to the Cleveland Browns to land the league's top defensive superstar. This series of transactions clarifies that the front office was not acting in isolation when they made their choices in April. Every move was connected, acting as a link in a chain that led to the acquisition of proven performers. The goal was to ensure that Matthew Stafford had the best possible support system while simultaneously securing the long-term stability of the quarterback position. This approach effectively neutralized the common criticism that the team was not doing enough to help their star quarterback win in his current timeline. The strategy has proven to be a masterclass in maximizing the utility of draft picks to acquire elite, game-ready talent. The impact of acquiring Myles Garrett cannot be overstated, as he represents the pinnacle of defensive production. By positioning Ty Simpson as the franchise's future, the team gained the leverage necessary to pull off the deal for the superstar pass rusher. Myles Garrett joins a defensive unit that already features high-level talent, and his presence fundamentally changes the way opponents must prepare for the Rams. Meanwhile, the addition of Trent McDuffie provides a lockdown element in the secondary that was arguably the final piece needed for a complete defensive scheme. These two players are poised to contribute more to the 2026 campaign than any rookie drafted in the first round could have provided. The transition from draft night uncertainty to the current reality of a bolstered roster highlights the difference between short-term optics and long-term strategic execution. While observers were focused on the immediate need for a receiver or an offensive lineman, the front office was focused on how to maximize the value of their top 15 pick to facilitate broader roster improvements. The secondary, which was a point of concern for many, is now solidified by the presence of Trent McDuffie. The pass rush, once dependent on collective effort, now features the most feared defensive end in football. Ty Simpson remains at the center of this narrative, not just as a future prospect, but as the key that unlocked the ability to bring in these veteran stars. His development in the background will continue, but his primary contribution to the organization has already been felt in the way the front office navigated the market to secure the assets that are helping the team compete for a championship at this very moment. Everything the organization has done confirms that they were committed to a specific philosophy, addressing the most critical position early to allow for aggressive maneuvers elsewhere. The narrative that the team ignored the needs of Matthew Stafford has been dismantled by the actions that followed the draft. By securing Ty Simpson, they eliminated a major point of anxiety for the future, which allowed them to focus entirely on the present. The team essentially traded the hope of a potential unproven future draft pick in 2027 for the certainty of Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie. If the team performs as expected in 2026, their future picks would have been lower in the draft order anyway, making it harder to secure an elite quarterback prospect. By moving when they did, they took control of their own destiny. Ty Simpson is the answer to the long-term question, while Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie are the answers to the immediate demand for excellence. The team is now positioned to maximize their current Super Bowl window with a roster that is deeper and more talented than it was prior to the draft. The confusion that persisted on draft night has been replaced by a clear understanding of the team's roadmap. They traded the uncertainty of the draft board for the proven reliability of established NFL stars, ensuring that the 2026 season remains the primary focus. Every step taken by the organization has been a calculated attempt to align their future investments with their current potential. The result is a team that is not only prepared for the games ahead, but is also built to withstand the rigors of a deep playoff run. The strategy worked, and the team is now ready to execute on the field.